Hello everyone, I am Nitish and we have started an initiative called Plum Series, which is Prelims Level Up MCQ series. Here we discuss 5 MCQs daily and this will help you in your UPSC preparation. Today is episode number 221 and I am dealing with economics MCQs. But before starting this class, I would like you to please subscribe the channel and also like and comment on videos. These contents are free of cost, so for test series and foundation videos, you can contact to Vice Sir on WhatsApp 7200 681 675. So let's begin. Today's MCQ number 1 is: which of the following are recognized as three sisters by the World Trade Organization's Sanitary and Phytosanitary Measures Agreement? Number 1, Codex Alimentarius Commission. Number 2, International Plant Protection Convention. Number 3, Pacific Plant Protection Organization. And number 4 is World Organization for Animal Health. So you have to select the correct answer code. A 1, 2 and 3, B 1, 2 and 4, C 2, 3 and 4, and last is 2 and 4. So I will give you 10 seconds. Try to answer this question. So its correct answer will be option number B, which means statement number 1, statement number 2, and statement number 4 are recognized as three sisters by WTO sanitary and phytosanitary measures. And in the solution itself, it is written that the International Plant Protection Convention is one of the three sisters recognized by World Trade Organization Sanitary and Phytosanitary Measures Agreement, along with the Codex Alimentarius Commission for Food Safety Measures and World Organization for Animal Health Standards. Now, move to MCQ number 2. Who is responsible for calculating GDP in India? It is very easy question, so try to answer this question. A. Reserve Bank of India. B. Department of Economic Affairs. C. National Statistical Commission. And last is Chief Economic Advisor. So once again I will give you 10 seconds. Try to answer this question. So its correct answer will be option number C, that is National Statistical Office is responsible for calculating GDP in India. And this office comes under Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, which is responsible for macroeconomic data gathering and statistical recording keeping. It releases India's GDP data, as I already told you. Now, move on to MCQ number 3. The Financial Stability Report by RBI look at which of the following aspects? So, the statement number 1 is: do Indian banks, including both public and private, have enough capital to run their operations? Statement 2: are the levels of bad loan or non-performing asset within manageable limits? Statement 3: are different sectors of the economy able to get credit for economic activity? So you have to select the correct answer code. A 1 and 2, B 1 and 3, C 2 and 3, and D all of the above, that is 1, 2 and 3. I will give you 10 seconds. Try to answer this question. So its correct answer will be option number D. Now let's look at the explanation part, that FSR, that is Financial Stability Report. So in the question itself, one question is also mentioned that who releases Financial Stability Report. So it is RBI. Now let's look at the explanation of this question. FSR looks at the questions like: do Indian banks have enough capital to run their operation? That is statement number 1. Statement 2: are the levels of bad loans within manageable limits, which is statement number 2. And last is: are different sectors of the economy able to get credit or new loans for economic activities such as starting a new business or buying a new house or a car? That is statement number 3. Now move on to next MCQ, that is 4. Consider the following statements. As per the present rules, global investors are not allowed to participate in initial public offering of a company owned by the government. Statement 2. A red herring prospectus is a document filed by a company to SEBI, that is Security and Exchange Board of India, when it plans to raise money through initial public offering. So you have to identify the incorrect statement. So the options are 1 only, 2 only, both 1 and 2, neither 1 nor 2. So I will give you 10 seconds. Try to answer this question. So its correct answer will be option number A, which means option number A is the incorrect one. Now let's look at the explanation. Global investors are allowed to participate in IPO, that is initial public offering of a company owned by the government, which is statement number 1, because and it is incorrect in the statement because here it is mentioned that global investors are not allowed to participate in IPO. But here in the explanation we can see that the global investors are allowed to participate in the IPO. A red herring prospectus or an offer document is filed by the company to SEBI when it plans to raise money from the public by selling shares of company to investors. The document is very useful to investors because it provides detailed information about the company's business operation, financial promoters and the company's objective for raising funds by filing an IPO. So the statement number 2 is the correct one because in the explanation we have seen that the red herring prospectus is a document filed by company to SEBI when it plans to raise money through IPO. Now, the last MCQs of today's class. With reference to net national product, consider the following statements. Statement 1. It takes into account the depreciation of capital goods. Statement 2. It includes it includes income earned by citizen from abroad. Statement 3. It considers income generated in the informal sector of the economy. So you have to identify the correct statement with reference to net national product. So the options are 1 and 3, 2 and 3, 1 and 2, and 1, 2 and 3. So I will give you 10 seconds, try to answer this question. So its correct answer will be option number C, that is 1 and 2. Now let's look at the explanation. Statement 1 is correct as net national product is the total value of finished goods and services produced by the country's citizen overseas and domestically minus depreciation of the depreciation of capital goods. That's why the statement number 1 is the correct one because here it is mentioned it takes into account the depreciation of capital good. Now statement 2 is also correct because NNP includes income earned by citizen abroad and excludes income earned by foreigners domestically. That's why the statement number 2 is also correct statement. Statement number 3 is incorrect because as no such mechanism is followed for considering the income generated from the informal sector in case of NNP, and here the mechanism which is mentioned in the statement number 2, that is GDP plus NFIA, that is net factor income from abroad is equals to GNP and GNP minus depreciation is equals to NNP. So no such mechanism is followed while considering the income generated from the informal sector in case of NNP. NNP basically relies on the GDP data. GDP ignores the value of informal and unrecorded economic activity. It relies on recorded transactions and official data, so it does not take into account the extent of informal economic activity. That's why the statement number 3 is the incorrect one. So that's all for today's class. Hope you like the content and my video. So next episode will be tomorrow. So please subscribe and stay tuned.